a lot of emails, and couldn't ask for a better partner. So, Commissioners, I want to publicly thank Representative Pitts for the hard work that he does for Montgomery County. So. Now the mic's yours, I believe.
Thank you, Mayor Dewart. I'm Joe Pitts, and I approve that message. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for allowing me to be here this evening and make a presentation. You know, Cindy and I love this community because there are people all across this county who get up every day and all they want to do is take care of their family, and they want to make life better for somebody else. And we have somebody here tonight who fits that description to a T. And that is Margaret Davis and her son JT. So Mayor, with your permission, I'd like to ask them to come forward. Margaret has been, I shouldn't say my partner in crime, because when you're in politics, people just assume that. But she has been literally a partner in a couple of things over the past couple of years. One is she called me one day and said, you know, there ought to be a way to put emergency information on everybody's driver's license, so when law enforcement pull someone over or find someone who may have a developmental disability, who may be suffering from early onset dementia, who may have an issue, they can pull up their driver's license, their identification, and see an emergency contact and make that phone call to keep that person out of trouble or to keep it from escalating. So lo and behold, the Department of Safety was able to do that thanks to Margaret's ingenuity and her willingness to stand up and say, we need to help. The other thing that Margaret did was she called me and she said, you know, there ought to be a law. There ought to be a law to help folks like that so that if they turn up missing, they wander away from home, if they go about their business and then suddenly just find themselves in surroundings that they're unaware of, we ought to be able to issue an alert through law enforcement. And that's now called Care Alert. And because of Margaret's willingness, again, to speak up and be part of the solution and not complain about a problem, law enforcement can now issue a care alert for people with developmental disabilities who may be aged, memory problems, and other things, similar to if a child goes missing, you see Amber Alerts. So I wanted to come before the County Commission and recognize Margaret, her son JT, for being willing to raise their hand and say, let's help somebody along the way, to let you know that now we have a law in place, thanks to Margaret, called the Care Alert Law, and I wanted to present her with a framed copy of the law that Governor Haslam has signed. And so if you would, please help me say thank you to Margaret.
Get a picture. Congratulations. Thank you. Do you want to say anything?
Joe, the thanks really goes to you. You were the champion of this bill. It took one phone call to put you into action, and that shows the character that you have as an elected official. Thank you very much for pushing this forward and making it happen. Thank you. If it saves one person, I'm good.
At this time, I'd like to get Miss Dana Dunn to come forward. Dana? And Dana, special thanks to you for all your community service, what you do, especially with our Rivers and Spires and coordinating this event that you're about to give some certificates and maybe a check too.
Great.
Awesome.
Thanks, Mayor. Appreciate that. Okay, I'm in charge of the volunteers for the Family Fun Zone at Rivers and Spires, and I know you as council people or commissioners are very used to talking about numbers, right, Mayor?
Yeah.
Right. So we're talking about 4 special numbers. The first number I want to talk about is 5, and then 71 and 4 and 297. So 5 hours average for each student that volunteered for the middle college at Austin Peay, and 71 football players from Northwest High School, and 4 consecutive years of service from Northeast High School. And most importantly, 297 high schoolers volunteered this year. So I want to give everybody a hand, and if they would all come out. Okay, from middle college, I haven't seen Casey McGovern. Are you here yet? From middle college at Austin Peay? Middle college. You want to come on up? Right, yes. I'd appreciate if you come on up and accept. We have a small token of our appreciation from the Tourism Commission and from Rivers and Spires. And if we can get our picture taken with that, okay?
Yeah, get in front of the podium. Yeah. Congratulations. Thank you.
And from Northwest High School, we have the football team from Northwest High School that is coached by Vernon Wright, and he is so brave to bring all these gentlemen. And I mentioned 71. You can imagine 71 big football players playing with little children. What a sight to see, and really puts us over the top for the volunteers.
No, I'm good right here. All right. Appreciate it. Good job, fellas. Thank y'all. Thank you.
Okay, an honorable mention this year, like I said, is Northeast High School, and Major Van Chase is retiring after 18 years of service. And I just want to say thank you to Major Chase for all of his donated hours and volunteer hours, and I really appreciate everything that you do for the school system and your retirement, and I appreciate very much everything you've done for Rivers and Spires. Thank you. And one last thing I want to say, 49. I didn't mention that number, but really that's the most important number. 49,000 visitors to our Montgomery County, and that's because of you. Thank you so much for investing in Rivers and Spires. Okay.
Thank you, Dana. Yeah, okay. All right. Next, we have some more students that we want to recognize tonight. Back a little over a year ago, I thought it'd be a good idea to try to get some of our high school students involved in government. And why I thought that, I don't ever know, but maybe they needed to get a little dose of what it's really like. But we had a group of students that signed up for it. We've got a new class that's coming in this year, but I'd like to recognize the students that served on our committees in this current year that we're in right now. And I would ask them, as you come up, if you would please stay up front, and we're going to do a group picture with everybody, and then you can go back and get seated. First of all, Miss Claire Barnett. Claire? Claire, here's a certificate and also a Montgomery County coin. And thank you so much. Appreciate it. Now you get to stand here and wait on everybody else. Next is Miss Helen Falk. Thank you and congratulations. Alexis Myelinick, and I think I may have got it right too. Did I? No? How do you say it? Mahalinik? Mahalinik. Well, I was close. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Brooklyn Mitchell. Ryan Streeter. Oh, he's at baseball? Okay. Oops. Elizabeth Tobin. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And Mr. Carson Watts. Squeeze in here some kind of way so we can all get a picture. Thank y'all. Yep.
They will for always be the first class ever.
Huh? They'll always be the first class ever. That's right. All right. Next up on our agenda is our zoning. We'll go into a public hearing. We'll hear both of these. Dr. Ripple will present both of them. Then we'll go into a public hearing and here have opportunity for anyone to speak on our zoning request. Our first application is CZ 6 2016, application of James Vernon Weekly from AG to C5.
May I have to do it again? Oop. My screen's up, but it's not up there. May I have to hit it again, Skip? Then I'll stand 10 feet away from it. So I don't mess it up. Evening, Mayor and Commissioners. There are two zoning cases here tonight. The first is CZ 6 2016. This is a rezoning from agricultural to C5 commercial. It is located on US 41A South, and it is directly across from the Wall Brothers glass business. It is a extension of the C5 zoning district across the street, which is Walls Brothers. And the applicant's statement for the purpose of the rezoning is to satisfy a contract stipulation with the national commercial chain. Only a portion of the 9-acre site is being rezoned. Is the Hatch Corner, which is just under 3 acres. And this is you're looking from Wall Brothers across the street. There's a little bit of vegetation, but most of the site is vacant. Traffic assessment was done of the site. It demonstrates there's adequate stopping site distance to get in and out of the property. And there were no other comments from any other agencies. It would note that it is in the planned growth area, which means that the perimeter of the zoning will be is subject to a perimeter buffer between the C5 and the agricultural zone that's to the east and to the northwest of the property. There were a few phone calls about what the purpose of the zone was, and there was one phone call that was unfavorable to the rezoning. Vernon Weekly spoke in favor of the zoning, and there was no opposition. This case received a favorable recommendation from both the staff and the Planning Commission to you. Next zoning case is CZ 7, 2016. It is located on the east side of Ben Road, in fact 1789 Ben Road, south of West Road, and north of Neblett Road. The property is roughly 3 acres. In fact, it's probably a little less than 3 acres, which is a reason for the proposed rezoning from agricultural to E1, moving from 1.5 acre minimum lots to a 1 acre minimum lot. The purpose for the rezoning is due to the long road frontage. The owner would like to subdivide due to the existing structure and the depth of the property. A lot less than 1.5 acres may be required, so that's why the application for the E1. So as you look at the site, this is existing structure on the north end of the property, and the south end, just beyond the house, is a flat portion of the property that would potentially be subdivided off. There were no adverse comments by any agencies. Sid Hedrick spoke in favor of the rezoning application. There was no opposition. There were some phone calls relative to how many lots, and we've told the people only 2 lots could be created. This particular rezoning received a favorable recommendation of both the staff and the Planning Commission to you as a body.
Any questions for Dr. Ripple before we go into public hearing on either one of the cases, CZ6 or CZ7 2016? Commissioner Harper?
Dr. Ripple, on
Yes.
the first zoning case, I think Waterford subdivision is down the road from the zoning case. What distance is that on 41A South from the?
I'm not sure where Waterford is. Is that right at the county line? This is within a half a mile of Oak Plains Road, close to Oak Plains Road, and it's within about half a mile of Cheatham County line. So it's
or Waterwood, or it's right there on the map.
Is that
The first zoning case?
Yes, the first zoning case. We talking about I'm not familiar with the subdivision. Is that the subdivision you're speaking of? Or is it another one farther on?
It's out past Eastland Green. Does that help you any, Commissioner Harper?
Yeah, that's
Waterford.
Waterford is what I'm asking about.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure where the Waterford is. There's no major subdivisions out this far, to my knowledge, on US 41A.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Waterford.
It's right there on the map.
Okay. So what's the distance on the map? I would say there's at Oak Plains Road, where the arrow is pointing.
See the,
At the C5 there, that's about less than a half a mile. That's where the utility district offices are located.
So it's a little less than a half a mile from the subdivision.
thank you.
Any other questions of Dr. Ripple before we go into a public hearing? Thank you, Dr. Ripple. We'll now go into public hearing. I will call the first CZ6 first, ask for anyone to speak in favor, and then also anyone to speak in opposition. I would just ask that the individuals coming forward, if you're representing somebody, just let us know that. If you live there, let us know what your address is, or if you live in close proximity, and please keep your comments to 3 minutes. Our first case, CZ6 2016, application of James Vernon Weekly from AG to C5. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on behalf of this case? Please come forward.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners. I'm Vernon Weekly. I live at 4740 Highway 41A South. I'm about 2/10 of a mile from the site of my personal house, and Waterford's about the same distance. I own approximately 10 lots in the Waterford subdivision, and I sure won't do anything that will hurt it or demise it in any way. I came up in the elevator with a couple of the commissioners, and I promised I won't be here next month. But the staff did see a merit in this case, and the commission endorsed it, and tonight I'm here to ask for your vote for this case for rezoning. And I'll be glad to answer any questions that I can, if you have any.
Any questions of Mr. Weekly? Mr. Weekly, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the audience that would like to speak on behalf of CZ6 2016? Anyone in the audience that would like to speak in opposition to CZ6 2016, please come forward. Last call, anyone in opposition to CZ6 2016? Our next case is CZ7 2016, application of Chris Cornell from AG to E1. Again, I would just ask, abide by the rules, keep your comments to 3 minutes. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on behalf of CZ7 2016? Please come forward.
Good evening. My name is Sid Hedrick. I actually am here to represent Mr. Cornell. He couldn't be here this evening. He asked me to help him determine the highest and best use of this property that he bought last year. And so we determined that if we could rezone it to E1, which meets the guidelines for the growth area, that we could make one additional lot. So we'll have the existing structure on roughly 1.5 acres, and then we'll have one other lot on roughly 1.5 acres. I believe the deed says that it's 3 acres, but the tax assessor says it's closer to 2.8. So we're going for E1 just so that we know that we won't have any struggles once we get to that point and start into the engineering portion of it. The area will be required to have septic systems. We've done some preliminary looks at the web soil survey online, and it's a gravelly soil, so we'll be able to get probably another 3-bedroom system on that one other lot. And as you know, there are several other new homes being built in the area. In fact, Mr. Blackwell has a subdivision down the road on Chapel Hill, which is quite a distance away, but it's actually zoned to E1, that subdivision is. So I believe it falls within the guidelines of what's going on in the area, and I hope you'll support us. Thank you.
Any questions of Mr. Hedrick? Thank you, sir. Anyone else in the audience like to speak on behalf of CZ7 2016? Anyone in the audience to speak in opposition to CZ7 2016? All right, we are now back in informal session. We're closing the public hearing. On to our resolutions. Our first one is Resolution 16-5. Budget 2016 through 2017 through 2020, 2021, compiled by the Clarksville Montgomery County on 1651. All right, 1652 is a resolution to request unclaimed balance of accounts remitted to the state treasurer under the Unclaimed Property Act. Again, this is something we do every year. Jeff Taylor is here sitting to my left to answer any questions. Any questions regarding 1652? 1653 is a resolution of Montgomery County Board of Commissioners authorizing lease of computers. Is Mr. Grant here? But this is for the school system, correct? This is for the school system. It's in their budget. And I think we could, if anybody has any questions, I think we could possibly answer those questions. Any questions on 1653? All right, 1654 is a resolution amending the retiree health insurance benefit plan for employees of Montgomery County hired on or after July 1, 2016. Is Mr. Swaw here? He is not here. This has been, this item's been vetted through the Personnel Advisory Committee. It was recommended by the Personnel Advisory Committee for approval, also by the Budget Committee for approval. This will not affect, I'll say that again, this will not affect any current employees of Montgomery County. Any questions regarding 1654? All right, 1655 is a resolution to replace the audio-visual system in 4 courtrooms in the Montgomery County Courts Complex. I know, is Kurt here? Oh yeah, you're always here. I don't know if anybody has any questions. Kurt, I might add that this system's end of life. It's basically dead, gone. It's something that we have to have. And help me, can we pay for any of this with the reserves?
We're looking into, we'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
Right now, we don't have it coming, we have it coming out of general fund.
Right now it's coming out of general fund. We're going to look and see if we can pay for it with reserves. Any questions about 1655? Y'all's buttons working? All right. On to our reports. Mr. Robert Nichols, chairman of our nominating committee. I think you have a couple of nominations, maybe one for sure.
Thank you, Mayor. The nominating committee met and has the recommendation for the Community Health Foundation. It is for Rosalind Carita, has been nominated to replace Kay Drew for a 3-year period to expire May 2019. And David Denton, nominated to replace Suzanne Ufferman for a 3-year period to expire May 2019. And Joey Smith, nominated to serve his second 3-year term to expire May 2019. And that's all we had, Mayor.
And these come directly from the Community Health Foundation, correct?
That's correct.
All right. Under the mayor's appointments, we have to the Personnel Advisory Committee, Commissioner Monroe Gildersleeve's term was listed incorrectly and will not expire until May 2017. Commissioner Joe Creek appointed to replace Commissioner Jerry Albert for a 2-year term to expire May 2018, and Commissioner Jason Hodges appointed to replace Commissioner Ed Baggett for a 2-year term to expire May 2018. Under our reports filed, you'll see those listed. Next Monday night, we will have to approve the Highway Department's list. Any old business? We don't have any announcements other than I might, is it Deputy Barnhart? Is that how you pronounce his name, Sheriff? Blanchard, I'm sorry. Deputy Blanchard, most of you probably read about one of our sheriff's deputies was injured in a car accident last week, and talked to Sheriff today. He was at the Budget Committee meeting, and he gave us a little update on it, so we just ask that you continue to keep him in your thoughts and prayers as he goes through a pretty long recovery process. With no other announcements, we'll stand adjourned. Thank y'all.